What goes in? When we're mapping, we collect GPS traces using logging devices such as this. We can, as I've shown, use aerial photography where that's been permitted. Sometimes we can use permitted third-party databases, like for instance that US government source that I showed you that I did an import of. Enlightened data owners. Essentially, this is when somebody says, you know what, I've got a lot of geographical data and I like what you're doing. Here you go. Sounds a little idealistic, but in fact even commercial mapping providers have done that. In addition to Navtech and Teleatlas, the next largest map provider in the world is a company called AND based in the Netherlands. They made a present to the project of the Netherlands. They gave the whole data set of the country, detailed mapping. They said, here you go, show us what a community can do when it gets a good quality set of map data and how you maintain it. So we didn't import. We now have the Netherlands pretty much completely mapped. Always more to do, but we can take a look at it. It looks rather nice. We also carry a notebook to take the names of street names, street numbers, house numbers, whatever it might be. Cameras are quite good because when you take a photograph, it gets time-stamped. You can cross-reference it with your GPS track log and get geocoded images, which are also very good to aid you in your recollection when you're doing your mapping. I'll gloss over this, it's mostly repeating what we're doing. What we get out of it is, OpenStreetMap.org has the classic web-type slippy map, which you can pan around. It looks quite like Google Maps, Yahoo Maps, any of those other maps, except that in many places it looks quite good. There's also an API and a planet data file that you can download if you just want the raw data. In terms of how that sometimes looks, and this is rather old, but I like to use this as an example. This is Tana Drogheda before we held the mapping party, which is one of the ways we try to make a big dent in an area with poor coverage. A lot of people converge on one location, map what they can. Often it happens on a weekend, as the Drogheda one did. This is what, now it actually looks even better now, but this is what it looked like in the immediate aftermath of the mapping party, so quite a difference there. Printed maps, no reason you can't produce printed maps from it, and just in terms of its suitability for that, the mapping in London is the place where OpenStreetMap originated, is very, very well mapped. This particular printed map is used for the Royal Geographical Society annual conference. That's an event that was sponsored by the Ordnance Survey. This map was produced from OpenStreetMap data. Yeah, we smiled a little about that. This is the Open Route Service. It's a web-based routing engine, which you can see I used. Did I use it? Yeah, I used it last year to plot my route here. This is a screenshot from not this mobile device, but from another Garmin handheld navigation device. So you can get those maps onto your Garmin device. You can also get them onto various mobile phones, running Symbian, iPhone, Android, a whole bunch of apps for that. Cycle maps. So this is an example of what I describe as a custom rendering. As a cyclist, you don't particularly care about where the motorways are, but for anyone who's interested, that's the M40 that runs by Oxford. But what you do care about is where the cycle routes are, at least for the national cycle routes, is number 57. And you also care about the line of land. You want to know if you're allowed to go beyond with lots of hills. So view contours are very important as well. The contours are not part of OpenStreetMap, but they're just matched up from another free source that we can use. Personal routing. This is a screenshot from another Garmin navigation device, actually giving routing instructions to get to a destination. That one's in Canada. These are three examples of iPhone apps, as it turns out, because that's what I happen to use. On the left is a very exciting tool called Scholar, which has only just come out in this part of the world. It's been in Germany for a while. And the reason I'm very excited by Scholar is that actually it is a connected application, so you need a live data connection. It originated in Germany. It's a spin-off from the established navigation company Navigon, and it started out with Navtech data, with commercial data. But due to the cost of proceeding to use that commercial data for an application that cost about a fiver instead of costing 70 quid, they switched over to OpenStreetMap and have become huge advocates of the project. So to me, I've been predicting for about 2 years now that within the next 2 years, some established navigation player would involve OpenStreetMap in its day-to-day strategy. That has happened, I'm happy to say, and I don't think it will be the first.
Sorry, are there any mobile apps out at the minute on whatever platform that do bi-directional communication and send back their current GPS trace?
Not the GPS trace. The closest to that at the moment is Scholar, in as much as it has a back channel for reporting bugs. It's not currently feeding back track logs. One of the reasons is that Scholar is a little bit cautious about whether the quality of the track logs yielded by mobile devices will be suitable for mapping. But I do expect it to happen in the future. There is a non-OpenStreetMap project with a commercial product called Waves, which runs on a couple of mobile platforms, which does that very thing. They're trying to build a map, and indeed a commercial closed map that the Waves will keep. It's an Israeli company. They're trying to do it using that very technique. It's an interesting approach and quite challenging, but I think we're going to get lots and lots of that. You can do obviously live traffic monitoring with that, even if you don't trust it enough for surveying. There are all kinds of very nifty applications of that in that area. In the middle is an application called OffMaps, which is for the iPhone. It's an offline map application, so it can do the very thing that's very practical when you're abroad. It can pre-download your maps when you've got a cheap internet connection rather than doing it on the fly. On the right is actually, it's called the MapZen POI collector. It's a tool to help you survey very quickly. You say, oh, here's a restaurant, it's not on the map. You can open up, say, it's a restaurant, it's called McDonald's, because I have the only money today, and there we go, it's on the map. I'll race through the rest of the pics that I've got. This is ski maps from my own background. Again, you like contours, but you also want the blue, black and red pieces. You want to see where the lifts are. Public transport maps. This is the Dublin city centre. Blue is the tram lines, red is buses, orange is the railway. Walking maps, again more contours, a little bit dark there, but you want to know about forests and the lie of the land. There's also terrain shading there. Reporting bugs. This is the OpenStreetBugs application. It allows people who are not themselves skilled in surveying to say, well, there's a problem here, I don't want to touch the map data, but somebody should really go and look into that. And yeah, about 250,000 of us. There's a yearly conference, Save the Map, this year it's in Girona. Mapping parties, as I said. Things you can do: missing street names, go. Contribute the street names you know. Don't do it from copyright sources, that will get us into trouble. Use a point of interest collector, like the MapZen one if you've got an iPhone, similar ones on other platforms. Do, if you can, record GPS track logs, upload those to the project, even if you don't want to map them yourself. It shows other people where the roads are, and they can map them. Do try out those applications that I've shown you, because in doing so you can see where the maps are deficient, you can provide your feedback. By all means attend a mapping party or organise one. By all means do trace over the imagery, although most of that's now fully traced. Do convince any data owners you know. If you know someone in the local council who actually has information that can help the project, convince them to donate it. And just keep in touch with us via mailing list, IRC, there's a couple of mechanisms for doing that. So